Everyone, welcome to a new episode of Crypto Tips. My name is Heidi.
My name's Toby, and this is Jason.
Yeah, we have a special guest again, Jason Pizzino. Thank you for being here today, Jason. How are you doing?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys?
Good.
Yeah, definitely good.
So
and congrats really quick on almost 80,000 followers. Yes. You're killing it.
Good job. Thank you. In the crypto YouTube. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So I have a lot of questions for you talking about, for those of you who don't know, maybe you missed the last time Jason was on our channel. It's been a little bit, like about a month or so. Anyway, He is much more into technical analysis, charting coins, and looking at that aspect of cryptocurrencies, something that we don't particularly focus on, but obviously the more information you have, to make a decision on investing or trading, the better. And yeah, I think it's interesting perspective to bring to our channel as well. So today I want to ask Jason about things like trend reversals, both on like kind of a micro scale for like dips situations like we've been in for the past week or so, and also, on the macro level of bull runs and when the big trend reversals happen. You ready to dig in, Jason?
Let's dig in. Yeah. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start from the top?
Yeah, first I want to talk about, dips and what are you looking for when a dip happens? Maybe if there's any signals that you think one is going to pop up for Bitcoin, and what you're looking for, how long that dip is going to last. What are some indicators that people can pay attention to?
So we briefly talked about it before we jumped on. So I'm just flying with a few things that I remember, that I use myself, which I think is a nice, easy way to do it. So I've circled this area because I'm talking about this one on my channel at the moment. An easy one. Let me start with like technical analysis is essentially just charting the emotion of the market, and that's it. And basically, the more you study it and the more you apply yourself to the market throughout all cycles, the bear market, the accumulation zones, the bull market, the more you understand the differences in what's happening in the chart at different times, because you can see a signal like this that I'm looking at right here in a bull market, and then the same signal won't work the same in a bear market or in an accumulation zone, because humans react. They have fear, greed right now, and then they have fear in the other periods. So looking at a trend reversal, I've got this on a 1 day. I've got a white chart. I don't have it on candles with greens and reds, because unless you have a trading plan that you need to know these red days and these green days, then it's just extra noise. So I try and cut out as much noise as I can, even though my chart probably looks a bit messy right now. And then just try and hone in on the areas. So, I mean, this is what we saw is that January? Yeah, in January. And then we saw a big dump down. Catching these is really, really hard. Like I don't know many people that can actually get that. People will talk about it, getting it, but really happening, it's probably few and far between. Sure, you could go down to an hourly chart, but then you're going to get a signal on every single, few days, because an hourly chart is a much smaller time frame. So an hourly chart's just 1H, and then you just bring in a whole lot more noise. So I want to try and get rid of the noise, but still understand the tops. So these signals, these patterns work on all time frames. But if we're trying to catch the big moves, then we got to look at the big time frames, the daily. 3 days I like, which doesn't show up in TradingView. It's a different style of 3-day swing trading. And then weekly. Weekly is probably the best one. And the reason why I look at those is because 80% of people, those figures, 80% of people lose money trading or investing. So I want to try and swing the odds in my favor and look at macro timeframes so that I'm going to make more money. Whereas, like we see on many YouTube channels, it's just like, hey, this is the hourly chart, urgent. There's a signal right here, and then people are like selling, and then they're buying, and then they're trying to sell again, and then they're just doing all the opposites and losing all their money. And they've got a couple of grand, and it's all gone. So I thought I'd just make a few of those points early on. I know we want to look at trend reversals. So this one here is a lower swing top. So basically we have, I do a lot of swing trading, and I look at Gann theory and Wyckoff theory. Wyckoff does a lot to do with volume and bar pattern analysis. So Gann looks at swings. So this is a down day because the top is lower than the previous day, and this bottom is lower than these previous days. And then this day is a higher high and a higher low. And so this is up, 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 up. This is inside, down, down, inside. This one's an outside bar because it has a lower low and a higher high, and up. And so basically all I'm seeing here in the market is the market has seen these areas as good support, and they've bought it back. Let me throw this on. There we go. So huge volume. They've bought the market up, and everyone's thinking, yes, sweet. I've bought the dip. The price is cheap. I'm going to buy it up. They buy it up. But what happens is the energy runs out at the top here, which causes a lower top. You don't know that yet until the next day, which happens. And so then the signal is, all right, well, this has now broken the daily low. It looks like we have just formed a first lower swing top. So that's kind of your signal there. You're not going to get it at this exact point of like the exact 42,000, but that's a good signal there at around 36.5. You might say, oh, what was the point of that? Sure, that's why I go for more weekly timeframes, but we don't know. This could have fallen to 24,000. And so getting out at 36 and maybe finding some support here if the market happened to do that. And these are all what ifs, I know that. If it happened to go that far, then you'd be like, sweet, I just saved myself, 34%.
Jeez.
Providing you had another buy order in at these levels. This is all like best case scenarios. I always say that because everyone just thinks it's technical analysis. It's nonsense. You're never going to get it, but it works pretty well. It works very well once you continue to study it. So one little signal that I like is lower swing tops. The other one I was talking to you guys about is overbalance in time. And we saw here on the run up, we were just getting like 1 day reversals. So we got the breakout of the all-time high. This is on Bitcoin, 20,000 breakout. 1 day down, inside, little up day, inside day up, 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 inside. 1 day down. You can see that the day broke down and then came back above. 1 day down. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we get 2 days down. You're like, things have changed. The feel of the market and what the market is expecting has changed. So we have a pattern change. And so that's another signal there. All right, we got 2 days down, but previously we were only doing 1 day reversals, 1 day reversals. What's going on? And then we got the lower swing top. And so it's like, all right, things have definitely changed. It might be an idea. If I get the signal to get out of this position because we're getting a beginning of a lower swing top, then probably not a bad idea to exit somewhere through here. Sure, we got this push down, double bottom, and then we move back the other way. So in this case, was it worth your time? What's the percentage like if you caught the bottom? I don't think so. If you got that exact bottom, it's only 20%. But this wasn't a very huge correction. Overall, people freaked out, but it was only 30%. And we know from Bitcoin, it's like big deal. We've just done. What did we just do?
People waiting for a larger one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've just done nearly 1,000%. So it doesn't look so bad at the end of the day. Now we've got this 1,000% and little 30% drop from there, double bottom, moved up again. And I like to look at volume as well. Big volume bars on these spikes. So the market didn't really last too long under here and took off again.
But that's actually interesting what you say, the 2 bars that go down consecutively. And that's the same thing that happened that kind of when we hit almost 60,000.
Yeah. Boom,
see
boom.
those 2 bars. Yeah, right there. And that kind of indicated that, okay, we're going to go down a little bit. Yeah.
And the hard thing is like these bars were just so big that a lot of the downside has already been wiped out. I was saying to my my group, my membership group and online, I was like, after this area, I didn't buy anymore. The market didn't feel right. It's like we're going up. The volume is so much lower. Look, if I just remove this chart in, the volume's just drying up. So it's like, who's buying this? I think it's just retail's just FOMOing in.
Okay.
And there's just not enough volume. And I'm like, this is weird. It's just going up. I'm not buying anymore. I want to see what happens. And then boom, this next thing happened. So I think it's also about keeping your position safe. Like if you can continue holding, increasing your, your investment or your portfolio, your accounts, one way to do it is just not trading as well. That was a huge one that I was learning from like my trading teachers and everyone else in the space. When you have been in it that long, a good way to do it is just not to be in the market. If you've got the cash, you can always deploy it at some other time. But if you feel like you have to be in the market, you could be in the market at these times and your position's down now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you talk about volume. So I'm looking at the volume right now with this move up. It doesn't look very high. So would you say that's retail?
I'm not sure yet, but yeah, the volume isn't very high. This is the average volume. So maybe we're just starting to come back to a more average level, and it's only 20, it's measured over 20, the last 20 days, because I've got it on a daily chart. But this move seemed okay. See, this one here is a just above average. The average is 8,000 and we hit 8,500. It broke above the highs, broke above these closes, and it closed high. So that's a nice strong move. This day, lower volume, but it was a reversal day. So it's like there's not that much selling in the market because the day's close was lower, but there's just not that many people selling. And then the next day, which is today, we just see the market take off again. So that's also known as a pretty good sign that it's like it's drying up. So we're seeing if they're testing it, whether the whales are testing what's going on here. They're sort of testing it, see if there's anyone else willing to sell off quickly. So they'll just dump a whole lot in. Maybe they've bought up down here. They bought up a lot on these bars because these volumes are really high. A lot of selling and then a lot of buying through here. Then they've got some extra to sell back onto the market to test it. So they can test, are there any more weak hands? And so if it gets bought up, then they don't have to test so much and the market naturally just rises up. Yeah, that's part of the Wyckoff theory, looking at the volume and how the big players do it, especially in accumulation periods like this, that we saw through 2019, 2020. Yeah.
Nice. So you were using that all the way through the last bull run?
Yes, but my skills have improved, thankfully, over the last 4 years. So I can see it a bit cleaner. And Bitcoin works really, really well with these because it's such a new market, new money. Like a lot of people, we see it all the time. There's fresh people that have never invested in anything in their life, traded anything in their life, put money into anything in their life, and they're highly, highly emotional. And so when all of these factors come together, it shows up in a chart much cleaner. It's usually the old money and the smart money that can disguise it a bit better, and that's why those traditional markets, I find them so much more difficult than these markets.
So what you're saying is this isn't the end of the bull run.
I don't think so.
That's what everybody wants to know.
That's what everyone wants to know. I don't think so. I'm not saying that like this period might take a few more weeks. I would love for it to take a little bit longer than here and start to base out and find some good support so that we can move up again. I hate seeing the market do that. Like I just don't like buying when I see it do that. I'd rather buy through here and just cop it. Like, I was buying here at 7,000, 8,000. And then I see that, I'm like, oh, damn it. All right, let's see what I can get and just throw a little bit more in at the 5,000. But then I loved seeing that pattern. I think I talked about it last time we were on the channel. It was like a triple top, a breakout, retest, and then it took off. I'm like, all right, there's one chance to buy. The dump, here's another chance to buy. Last breakout, there's my last chance to buy. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm not buying anymore. Because when it goes on that run, I'm like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, that's when you get to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be a point.
Yeah. So, gosh, how about layer 2 solutions? Here we go. I know you want to talk about probably ADA, but like, I'm really interested in Matic. I think that I'm just getting.
Let's do Loopring as well. I think I was looking up Loopring today.
Okay.
We'll have a look at Matic and Loopring.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I'll just show this one, and then we'll move on to that. This is one that I use all the time. It's just a fib level. I'll take this volume off so it's a bit cleaner. I've got these log lines on here. Just testing those because these helped a lot in the last bull market. There was like a log move up here, and then as Bitcoin broke through, it was just parabolic logarithmic chart, and then it was like time's over. So I'm just trying to find one of those this time. So
that's interesting. So we got a long way to go if this.
Oh, I wouldn't say it'll hit the top of that, but have a look at. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked, but I found this.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
I think it was one of these ones that I was watching last time with some other traders. Yeah, it was like you need a few data points to really know that you've got this pattern. And so we've got 1 point here. This was around it was testing the old all-time high. So it's a significant high. And I've chosen significant highs because if you remember from this July, was it June, July area, and we had a dump into July, that was really emotional. We thought that was kind of the end. Everyone was like, oh, shit, this bull market's over. And then this one happened and it was like, oh, we don't think so anymore. And then that's where it just turned, like the energy turned, and instead everyone was like, no, this thing's never going down. It's going to 100 grand. And you could see that there was pretty much no other pullbacks. There was one big scare in November where it went from 8,000 down to 5,000. Everyone's like, whoa. Mm-hmm. And then it kept going. But this was like the log trend that I remember watching. And then it broke through the log trend and it was like, wow, this thing is really parabolic. Because if I take this off, it just skyrocketed. Doesn't look like much on the log, but it's huge. To be able to break through a log trend is massive. And so I thought, let's keep a track of something this time around and see what happens. And so far, this was a significant high. That was a significant high at 42. And we've just, if I can zoom in, we just hit that. If I bring this back, whoops, delete that. I can bring that back later. I'll bring this point back to this high. We just hit that. So we could have almost 3 data points now. So I need to find the 3rd data point. And so far we're kind of keeping to that trend. So while it works, I'll keep it. One thing I wanted to just have a look at was the fib retracement. So this is what I use to measure the market to understand, are we going to get a big pullback? Is this over? And the 50% level is amazing every time. So I'll take it off log. Take this one away. All right. I don't know if you guys can see that there. See, this is 50% here, this red dotted line. This is a significant low because it was the only weekly low before we took off. There's basically no other weekly lows through this whole run. So that's significant. Then we hit it to the high and it's like, where is this drop going to end up? Because we need to know when to buy back in if we're trying to get out at the tops and buy again. 50% level is usually a very, very good area. So Bitcoin hit almost dead on 50%. 50% here at 29,800. The low 28,800. So you're pretty close to it. This market ran up 161%. So basically ran an extra 61% of this exact range, which is another fib level. It's like people who trade with this know that that's a level. So I'll delete this and then I'll use it again because there's a low, there's the high. What happened? We hit 50%. So there's a good area to continue to buying back from. So 50% is just a really easy one to use. Doesn't mean it happens all the time, but you should get a bounce or some sort of movement from 50% of the range. Whereas, like we love to use this measure tool and everyone's like, oh, the market fell 26%. It's like, it doesn't really help to understand where to buy in. Whereas this fib retracement helps if you pinpoint a major low and a major top. Nice, easy one. All right. Yeah. Matic. Matic BTC. What's that?
You're just here to feed our greed of the different altcoins.
Yeah.
No, because really now, I want to go into generally, the altcoins follow the general trend of Bitcoin, maybe with some differences of people are taking profits from Bitcoin, feeding it into the alts. And then there's some coins that just full on don't match that at all. And for us, we were kind of noticing that with Cardano and with Matic too, as well, just performing really well. So what do you see? What do you see that we don't see?
I mean, I think you're seeing a reasonably well performing crypto. If I take that off log, we don't like buying. Well, I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty sure you don't. Do you want to I don't. It's just not like buying things when they go straight up like that. Because I feel like I'm buying in a shaky foundation of a structure. I'd rather buy in at a strong structure at the low. So even if this thing takes off, I always just look at it like a percentage and go, well, the risk down to some other support levels about 45%. Let's give it 35%. But we know crypto can go nuts and just take us right out. And it could be somewhere down at these support levels, which we've seen Ethereum even do. So anywhere between a wild range of 34 to 70%. And what's the upside? Well, it's always the sky's the limit, but we've already moved from the low, 900%. What do we normally see? Like, do we see another 900%? I think I have to squeeze the chart a hell of a lot to get another 900%. I think that's asking a bit much.
Yeah.
And this is on the Bitcoin value too. So I'll be risking whatever that was. It was 30 to 70% to the downside. To how much am I going to make? 100%? Like, I got to try and figure out a price above here and just think, how much further can this thing run? And so another way I do that is just with my Fibonacci extension. And that's just measuring 100% here. And then it tells me, all right, from that top to here is 200%. So can the price double from that top? Can it triple? Can it quadruple? And then what does that percentage give me? If I get it to the 200%, I'll get 124%. I'll get 230%. Can I get to there? Can I get to around 2,000 sats at 300%? Then that's probably worth my while to risk the downside if this thing fell by 30 to 70%. That's how I weigh it up. I mean, look, maybe I'm just a little bit overly conservative when it comes to these, and everyone just wants to FOMO in and just hope for the best. But I just go back to the other point. I'm like, I'd rather just hold all my money and wait to find one of those setups that I really like. I don't know if Loopring was one of those. Loopring. See, like, we saw this shoot up, but now, let me put that on auto. Now we can start to see that lower swing top pattern. And we had an inside 2 days down inside, and then a reversal, typical crypto. And then it tried to push up, but it couldn't. Tried again, couldn't. And then we see it capitulate 1-2 big days, which were the days that I think Bitcoin capitulated as well. They look like it. 22nd of Feb, 23rd of Feb. Pretty sure they're the days. So it broke through these supports, and now it's trying again. But I possibly think we won't get through. I mean, the probabilities are it won't get through, and it's just coming up to the underside. See, that was the old support. The support broke down. It tries to test the support, and then it usually, do a bit of that, and then it will come down again, sit on these things.
I see.
Yeah, and it just has this like natural flow of the market, and it'll just keep working its way down until it finds support again, builds up a structure like this, and then does that again.
So that's what you're looking for when it finally hits that support level, and it's like the accumulation phase, and that's the foundation that you're looking for to buy.
Yeah.
And then hang on.
Yeah, definitely. And I just got to be super patient. Like, that's September through till January, which isn't that bad. I mean, we sat through 2 or 3 years of a bear market, and there were plenty of opportunities to buy. 6 months isn't that bad, but we know the new people.
Spoiled now.
I know. It's like you put a video out. It didn't go up today. When you put a video out,
do something.
Yeah. It's been a day. It's been 1 day. I'm like,
it hasn't tripled in a day. Oh, this thing sucks.
Yeah.
It's your fault. I'm like, Jesus.
We're all just millennials at heart.
just lie to us and tell us it's going to go up.
That usually seems to work much better. They don't even care.
Yeah, right.
No, they just want to dream and hope. I'm like, up to you guys. It's your money. I don't care.
Yeah.
If you don't want to take learn a bit more, then it's up to you. You can see here, it's like dropping, bounces, continues to drop. Then we get the bounce away. You're like, what's this going to do? Because it's huge volume on these big bars that don't end up pushing through. And so this came back as the retest here, and it was a higher low. That's that exact point that I always love to buy into. Like that. It moves up. Do I have a log? Yeah. It's sort of, you can see it move up, and then that retest on the old previous lows. So it's just coming back, and it's like, all right, that price is support, 16 cents is support, go. And then crypto just doesn't give you time. It's just go.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. So it's kind of like what you were saying before, you don't necessarily know what's going to happen. You're pretty much relying on what you've seen very recently or whatever scale you're looking at.
Yeah.
So kind of looking for, okay, if this happens, okay, that's a confirmation. Okay, I'll do my move now. And then it should perform well, or, if you're going to sell, it should.
When I see that, it's like I start to pick up certain patterns that you've seen happen time and time again. And you just say, all right, I've seen that one heaps and heaps of times. More often than not, this plays out. So I'm just going to go in heavy here and I'll wait for these to break, because this might not play out here. This might continue to fall down and this level will break and then it's all over. But if it breaks through the upper side, and look, in this case for Loopring, it just didn't even give you a chance. It just broke this high, broke these highs, broke this high, and broke that high all in the one day. And you're like, oh, is it too late? But it wasn't. Yeah, so that's a layer 2 Loopring. Again, this is one I've got on the chart here because it's just one to stalk now, because I think it's had its explosion, failed. I dare say we'll get another fail here, and then just see where it bases out. All right, I do heaps of Cardano on the channel, almost daily. So I'll have a quick look. We'll go Cardano, Binance. And do you guys compare the cryptos against other cryptos, or do you just look at it against USD value?
Yeah, usually against USD.
All right. So one thing I bring up a lot is comparing it against other cryptocurrencies, especially the big ones, because you want to know whether it's just falling in value against something else. Like say Cardano's falling in value against Ethereum, which is not, it's going the other way. Then it's better off to probably move some of that portfolio into the one that's performing a lot better, or just not be as heavy in the one that's not performing as well as the other major. So Binance went on that massive run, which obviously dumped everything. Everything was weak against Binance after it went to $350. But Cardano, which we talked about on the channel like a week and a bit ago, I was like, all right, I think this is starting to level out because we've got huge volume, and it started to accumulate. And so we got a little bit of a move. Is it going to last? Not sure. It's not looking like it'll last, but it wasn't going to fall any further from this point. Cardano, Bitcoin, it was on the drop. We looked at this from the top. So Cardano may have peaked against Bitcoin. It has doubled. We've got our fib levels as well. This is an extension. It's like exact this range to the low to 200%. And it's found a peak so far. 2 days down, and it's getting close to being 3 days down, which I talked to you guys about. It's probably not the best sign, but it has recovered from a 3 days down before. So we just keep an eye on it and just see if it can level out. I'll move that and just find some support. But we had huge volume on the highest bar it has ever seen. No. So this was the top, huge volume, and the market didn't continue pushing up. So it's like, why is there a whole lot of volume on the top? Generally, it's because new people are all flooding into the market and the smart money's selling to them. And now there's no more support. There's not enough buying left, and that's why the price falls. People always think it's the other way around. It's like, if there's not enough, if there's too much selling, then they think the price falls. And it's like, no, sometimes it's just there's not enough buying. And of course, that means there will be too much selling, but there wasn't as much buying as there was yesterday. And therefore, now we have too much selling. Or now we have the same selling, but it can drop the price.
The way the market's behaving right now, so it would be probably down compared to Bitcoin, but in US dollar terms, it'd be up.
Cardano is actually up in US dollar terms. It's up slightly, like 3%.
Up in US dollar terms,
Yeah, but against everything else, it's slightly down. Like Ethereum is down from these highs. If we want to measure it from the exact top to where we are now, that's 24% down against Ethereum value from the top. But of course, it's done very, very well all the way up. Look, Bitcoin's down as well. ADA down as well. I look at Cardano versus Polkadot, down from that top as well, but it has done very well against Polkadot.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's just US dollar that's up because Bitcoin's going on a little charge now, 6% up today.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
It's doing something.
It's doing something.
Ethereum. Ethereum versus Bitcoin. This is the ETH BTC chart. I'm looking at this as a potential low. It's sitting on some old support levels. You know, this was kind of resistance back here, a little bit of support, it's broken down, broken back up. So that is this price here, 0.02996, call it 0.03. So it's 3% of Bitcoin's value. And another level I've got here is around 3.6% of Bitcoin's value. So yeah, on Ethereum, if this doesn't hold up, it's not looking good for it in terms of Ethereum versus Bitcoin value. But I have a feeling that we will hold up at some point, but I still need to see some sort of reversal sign. And looking again, like we had with the other charts, this might be a 61%. Yeah, so it's dropped to the 38, so it's the 61%, which is fine. We're not in any sort of breakout bull market yet of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Ethereum versus USD, boom, I already had it on there, 50% again. So this is a major low because it's a swing low on a weekly chart, macro. There's the top, boom, bottom, dead on 50%, huge volume.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. If I bring this out to the major low, another one, 61%. So we don't want to see it get back to here though, because this is like, the time frame is just far too big, which could mean the trend is over. But yeah, where we are currently this is the first major one. Even if you got it wrong and you did the other low, it's still like dead on that 50%. So it's another good little buying area. So if you see that happen, boom, not a bad buying position.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jason, for all of your insights. I know it's really valuable for us and obviously for our viewers as well. We don't just do this for our sake, it's for everyone that we're showing it to. So thank you for your time and your insights. And if you guys want to get much more videos and educational content, check out Jason Pizzino on YouTube. I'll link to his channel down below in the video description. But thanks for your time, Jason.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoyed it as always.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like the video up. Like Heidi's video up. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, you gotta
like.
Like.
Come on. You need it for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you, guys.